breaking headline out of Dallas at this hour. A
police chief there calls this a very unique case
involving an off-duty officer who shot and killed her neighbor in his own apartment.
Amber Guyger was an off-duty police officer arriving home after a long day of work sometime around 10 p.m. Her neighbor, 26-year-old Botham Jean, was in his apartment. Exactly what happened next is still a mystery, but what we know is Guyger went to Jean's apartment. She says she thought it was hers. When she saw him, she fatally shot him. The aftermath of that moment captured in this video, the incident sparking questions nationwide about race, police transparency, and an officer's use of deadly force. And now, for the first time, we're hearing Officer Guyger's 911 call after shooting Jean.
I'm an off-duty officer. I thought it was in my apartment, and I shot a guy thinking it was my apartment. I'm so tired.
An attorney for Jean's family listening with us. The audio obtained exclusively by Dallas station WFAA.
All I can imagine was Botham on the ground, taking this last breath. And that was very difficult for me.
Okay, we have help on the way.
I know, but I'm going to lose my job. I thought it was my apartment.
In the recording, Guyger can be heard growing increasingly distraught.
Oh my God, I'm done. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Hey, bud.
Guyger now potentially facing prison time. Jean's family left in anguish.
She took my life away, like my very own life.
While the community grapples with unanswered questions.
We're still dealing in America with black people being killed in some of the most arbitrary ways. Driving while black, walking while black, and now we have to add living while black.
Sparking protest over what some say is a lack of transparency coming from the Dallas Police Department in the wake of the shooting. Now that 911 call beginning to shed light on what happened that night. Botham Jean, a St. Lucia native, is described by his friends and family as a, quote, ray of sunshine.
Botham had a love for everything and everyone. So I just want the message of love to permeate throughout this whole process.
An active member of the Pearland West Church of Christ. He was beloved by many.
Everybody say,
as this packed service held in his honor shows. His fate forever changed by Amber Guyger, a 4-year veteran of the Dallas Police Force.
This is a person who's been on patrol for 4 years. They have a pretty good idea of how to handle stressful situations at that point.
There is nothing to say the two neighbors had a relationship, but on September 6th, after a more than 13-hour shift, Guyger, who was off duty, arrived back to her Dallas apartment building, where she and Jean's lives would cross in the worst way possible.
At that point, she could be running around from job to job, so that factors in here.
According to the arrest affidavit, Guyger, who lived on the 3rd floor, parked on the 4th floor of the building that night.
I just could have sworn I parked on the 3rd floor.
She headed to the apartment directly above her unit, thinking, she said, it was her own. The door, she says, was slightly open, the interior dark.
I thought it was my apartment. I thought it was my apartment.
She says that over and over again in this 5-minute recording. Is that significant to you?
It's significant to the point that it makes me feel that that call was staged. It made me feel that she had already spoken with someone.
Guyger, still in uniform, said she thought she spotted a burglar, but in fact it was the apartment's resident, Botham Jean. She then fired 2 shots, hitting Jean once in the chest.
Do you need police as well or just EMS?
Yes, I need both.
20 times on that 911 call, Guyger tells the dispatcher she thought the apartment was her own, at one point saying she was tired.
No. How did I do this for? I'm so tired.
The thing that stand out the very most to me was the fact that when I listened to that call, not one time did I hear Amber Guyger say that she was in fear of her life.
The Dallas Police Department was quick to respond, turning the case over to the state investigator, the Texas Rangers.
Thank you. In order for us to be truly transparent to this community based on the circumstances, we have invited the Texas Rangers to conduct this investigation.
But it would be a few days before Guyger was identified and arrested for manslaughter.
The family had many questions for the authorities, the main one being that this police officer should not be given any preferential treatment.
As details of that night emerged, protest grew louder, many demanding justice for Jean.
This is a case that raises a lot of sensitive questions, and there's going to be enormous public interest. And consequently, there's more of a desire to get that evidence out faster.
A woman who says she lived in the building and shot this video in the moments after the incident questioned the validity of the officer's story in an interview with The Advice Show.
The elevator, the garage, the hallways, everything is marked with what floor you're on. So she would have passed plenty of indication to let her know she was on the 4th floor.
At the time, the Jean family criminal attorneys told ABC they questioned the statements made in that affidavit.
Independent witnesses have already come forward to say that they heard this officer pounding on the door and demanding to be let in.
More than 2 months after the arrest and the initial charge of manslaughter, a grand jury indicted Guyger, who had since been fired on a murder charge.
It's possible the grand jury just decided on its own. It's more likely that the prosecutors played a role in moving this from manslaughter to murder.
Guyger's attorney spoke to ABC's affiliate station last November.
Her actions are justified under the law, so you don't prosecute people that, one, make a mistake, that don't have a criminal intent to commit a crime.
Today, both parties are under a gag order, barring them from discussing the criminal case. John's family has also filed a civil lawsuit against the city of Dallas and Guyger.
I thought it was my apartment. Oh my God.
The chilling audio offers clarity about that night, but still leaves many questions. Only 2 know the full answer, but one is silenced forever.
I just want to let people know that Botham loved them. He didn't even have to know you. He just loved everybody.
For Nightline, I'm Marcus Moore in Dallas, Texas.
The trial in this case is expected to start in September.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.